guys, in today's night, let's talk about culture shock. So every night I will make a small video about a simple topic to practice my English more usual. Okay, so this video will talk about culture shock. So do you know what culture shock actually means? Well, if you don't know, well, let's break down this phrase. So culture is when you go to another country. Each country will have a special culture. And shock, the word shock is when you're shocked by something. I'm shocked by the way how my friend dressed. So for example, my friend dressed short skirts and tank top. So I'm shocked by her appearance. So culture shock. And now you know each word means. Do you know what culture shock means? Well, culture shock actually means when you go to another country and you are shocked by that country's culture. So let me take an example for you. Take example of the country Singapore. When you go to Singapore, on the road of Singapore, you will not see a tiny piece of paper or any trash on the road. The road is incredibly clean that you can even walk barefoot on the road too, without getting your foot dirty. So Singapore is a really polite country, and the road, like everything is very fresh and clean. When our country, Viet Nam, we like throw everything on the road. So I think at least 100% of you have thrown trash on the road before. It can be a tiny piece of paper when you're walking and you just throw the tiny piece of paper on the road. That is throwing trash on the street as well. So when you go to Singapore, of course, you'll get culture shock by how clean Singapore is. And of course, when you go to Singapore, you throw trash on the road, you'll get paid by it if you throw trash on the road. So if you have the opportunity to go to Singapore, you should never throw trash on the road. Well, today I want to talk about culture shock when foreigners go to Vietnam. Of course, if you are a foreigner and you go to our country the very first time, of course, you'll get culture shock. Like for me too. I haven't been to any other country, but like every other tourist, you'll definitely get culture shock when you go to any countries, because each country has a different culture. Maybe shocking, maybe normal, whatever that is. So in this video, we'll take a closer look at what foreigners might find it weird in Vietnam and what their culture shock really is. Alright, let's jump right into the video. First off, the number one thing when foreigners find it very hard to understand and they find it really shocking is the traffic in our country. When you go to any capital, for example, Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City, of course, in those countries, they really have heavy traffic. Maybe for 1 hour, 2 hours. This happens like every single day, and the people in those cities find it really normal if they are in a traffic jam. So for tourists, especially foreigners like in America or in other countries, they will find culture shock and they will be really scared to cross the road in Vietnam too. So like crossing the road have a lot of technique. If you just run like for your life, maybe you'll get crashed by a car. This happens if you just run and you don't know how to cross the road. So the number one lesson for foreigners to learn is how to cross a road. Simple as that, because in their country, they have like a special lane for pedestrian to walk, so they don't have to worry about hit by a car, or how to walk across the road. So the number one lesson in here is how to cross the road. Alright, move on to our second is using chopstick. A lot of foreigners, like in America, Russia, or other countries, they'll definitely using a knife and a fork to eat. So when they eat some kind of beefsteak, they will use a knife to cut and use a fork to eat. Or when they eat noodles, they will mostly use fork and knife. But in here, of course, we use chopstick every time. We eat everything with chopstick. So when foreigners go here, they will have a hard time to get used to using chopstick. Like, just remember when you were little and you learned how to use chopsticks. It's very difficult, and for foreigners too. So using chopstick is the number 2 culture shock for foreigners. let's move on to number 3, which is eat dog meat. Well, I personally do not regularly eat dog meat. I do not hate it, but I don't eat it. I have tried that for once my entire life. My dad said that is like the normal meat pork. So I eat it. I didn't know anything about it. It tastes nice, not particularly nice, and I know it's dog meat. I think that we shouldn't eat dog meat because it's a pet that we raise, and it's not very good to eat like a very intelligent pet, an intelligent animal as well. So eat dog meat. I think mostly dog meat, they are served for some kind of men that they drink some beer. So dog meat is good with beer. But for foreigners, I think they're scared because they regard dog as a very intelligent friend. Like they regard dog as their friend, a person also. And did you know that like in the foreign countries, so the most precious person is, of course, babies, like children and women. That's rank number 1. The third is dogs. And the fourth is men. So men is ranked after a dog. So surprising, right? So a dog is actually very worth it, and I would do not eat dog meat. Okay, so number 4 is, in our country, there are lots of pubs and bar. Lots of pubs and bar in here. And instead, like in the foreign country, instead of just go to pubs a lot, they will stay at home, eat a normal family dinner, and then they will read books or gain their knowledge more. So I think like in here, a lot of men usually go to pubs and they drink. When they're stressed out, they will always drink a lot of alcohol and beer. So I think it's not very good. And here is a fun fact. So in America, like a person, an average person will read 15 books per year. In France, an average person will read 12 books per year. But in Vietnam, an average person will read 0.1 books per year. So it's not even 1 book, it's 0.8. So surprising, and I'm very disappointed in our country. Okay, number 5, which is, there are not a lot of public toilets. As you go around the parks, the public garden, the place where you usually go like walking around, you won't see a lot of public toilets. So that's the thing that tourists do not like in our country. In our country, there are a lot of public toilets like outside the road. So everywhere, if you want to pee, you would just pee in the public toilets. But in here, because there aren't a lot of public toilets, so you just to be honest, a lot of people even pee on the bush, which is very bad for the environment. Okay, number 6 is going late to parties. So in a foreign country, they usually go very early to parties. Well, not too early, but they go early to help like the landlord, the owners of the house. But in here, I think they go sometimes go quite late to parties. And number 7, drunk as hell. So like in our country, Vietnam, there's it's not a culture, but some people, especially some men, they usually get very, very drunk when they are stressed out or anxiety. And foreign people, they do drink alcohol, but not too much, and they just drink under their control. So when they feel like they cannot drink anymore, they will stop. Okay, and number 8, throw trash on the street. So we talked about in number 1 traffic before, so we just throw trash on the street all the time. It's like a common thing we do. And number 9, I forgot to raise my hand. So number 9 is cursing. So lots of people usually curse, especially adults and teenagers and even young children nowadays. They curse a lot. But I think in the foreign country, they do not curse. They do curse, but not as often as Vietnamese people. So those are 9 culture shocks that foreigners find when they visit Vietnam. So I think in order for tourists to love our country more, we should reduce those culture shock. Okay, so bye-bye. I hope you love this video about tourist people find something weird in our country. And those are 9 culture shocks that tourists will find in our country once they go here. So bye-bye. Thanks for watching.